Prepared Mind channel. I'm John. I'm your host. You guys, I have to say thank you here on Patreon. $2 a month. You get the freshest ideas with the most current of events, and I love to do this. The only reason I'm successful isn't because I do these recordings in my underwear. A friend of mine dared me to say that. The reason I'm successful is I bring to you your own thoughts. I know a lot of people, they go, man, I've been thinking about that. I'm glad you talked about it. You bring up things that I kind of think about, and it's good to hear other thoughts. In a lot of cases, you guys send me news, and I'm like, God, I was thinking about that, and now I can put it all together. What we've got here is a couple of news stories I want to share with you. And then I want to go into what it means and why. Right? Why are you a prepper? Why are you saving food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense up front? Why are we doing it? You know, when I was a kid, I thought, oh, the UN's going to take over the world, right? When I got a little older, I was like, it's the Clintons and it's the New World Order. And as we get closer to the shit hitting the fan, we get to see actually the machinations and how they're going to do it and how they're going to let us do it to ourselves and blame each other while the New World Order brings in its next system of control for us. It's really incredible. We're going to start with this story. Doxing Trump donors is just the beginning. Now, doxing is one of these new words they just made up, the millennials did, that we have to suffer under. Right? Doxing is revealing someone's identity, where they live, their phone number, their place of work, etc. Releasing private information about them to the public. Right? Now, that's one thing, but using it to silence people, to hurt people, to expose people so that others who are more violent, who are more radical, who are social justice warriors can take action. And the person who did the doxing goes, well, I didn't mean anything by it. Well, let's take a look here. There's a fella, his name is Representative Joaquin Castro. And you can find this article on the National Review. But a lot of these news agencies charge money, so I try to put links to them where you can go view it for free, easier with less crap. Anyways, Representative Joaquin Castro is doxing Trump donors on Twitter. Here's a quote. Sad to see so many San Antonians as 2019 maximum donors to Donald Trump. Their contributions are fueling a campaign of hate that labels Hispanic immigrants as invaders. This has given us that teachable moment. Now, one, it's not a campaign of hate. And two, they're not Hispanic immigrants, they're Mexican immigrants. They're from the country of Mexico. There is no country of Hispanic, or Hispania, or Hispaniola. These are Mexican nationals that are illegals. And it's not about hating them, it's about obeying immigration and customs laws. All right. Laws mandating disclosure of campaign contributions were originally intended to ensure that the contributions were on the up and up. But it's been turned upside down in today's take no prisoners political climate. Right? And this is how people respond to these tweets of these people. Right? Quote, I think you're a scumbag and I fucking despise everything you stand for, said one caller who spammed the voicemail of a Trump donor named in Castro's tweet. That's why I'm calling you and filling up your voicemail with a bunch of bullshit, so enjoy that. I will make sure to post this number and extension all over the internet. You see what they're doing? It is a campaign by them to expose us as individuals. We're not the candidates, we're supporting the candidate. If we are, we support them because that candidate's message resonates with us. It is similar to us. So they feel that not only should they attack Trump and call him a racist, they should attack anyone who supports him. Right? I can see the connection. Let's make that connection a little more clear, shall we? AOC, the four horse-faced women, all the progressive Democrats, all the socialist Democrats, and all the communist Democrats are similar to and think along the same lines as communists, the same way Trump supporters think along the same line as Trump. Except the communists did murder people based on race, religion, ethnicity, customs, tradition, the geology or geography, the geographic area in which they lived, their political positions, whether they were wealthy or not. Yeah, they murder people. So if we can associate people like me and you who believe that some of Trump's ideas have valid merits, well, then we can look at the socialists in this country and say, you are in line with Mao Zedong, Lenin, Trotsky. You're in line with Stalin. And you're very damn similar to Hitler in what he did by turning his people loose, his Hitler youth loose, to go out and harass people and harm them. You are lining yourselves with the biggest murderers in human history. And we're allowing that? And we're calling it free speech? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. What is going on with these people? Right? How they're doing this and what they're doing. They're trying to silence us. They're trying to harass us. They will get you fired if they can. They will take any information about your life and use it against you in the court of public opinion or in your job. So let's move on to this other story here. And this is powerful. This is an article from The Guardian, theguardian.com. Universal, as in Universal Studios, Hollywood, California. They cancel the release of a violent satire, The Hunt, right? That's the name of the movie, The Hunt. Remember the movie called The Purge, which had social political undertones? Oh yeah. The Hunt was canceled because of Trump's criticisms of it, right? Universal Studios scraps a movie about a group of elites hunting deplorables following gun violence across the U.S., right? Yeah, they had this movie set to come out. They've already wrote the script, found the producers, the actors, the director. They got all the money together for it. Because it's not just Universal Studios, there's producers and financiers involved in the making of movies. They had to get all of this together, then write a story for it, and then go through rewrite after rewrite after rewrite, go to find settings in cities to film it. In other words, to make a movie, it takes a long time. They've been planning this for a long time, probably to have it out just in time, right? A year before the next presidential election, so that they can whip their masses into a fury against Republican supporters and to scare us, people who would maybe not go vote for Trump, but go vote against the other candidates. You can't just say everyone's a Trump supporter. You've got to understand our options are Trump or an absolute screaming socialist. So a lot of people vote against something as much as they would vote for something. So the Hollywood studio behind the violent satire depicting a dozen supposedly red state Americans who wake up in a clearing and realize they're being stalked for sport by elite liberals, they're going to scrap the release days after announcing, right, that it would not promote or market the film. The Hunt, produced by Blumhouse, the independent film house known for mostly low-budget horror films, such as Paranormal Activity and The Purge, right? Funny how that works out, right? And also the Oscar-winning Black Klansman. It's got 3 Ks in there. Was due to come out on September 27th. News of the decision, right, was disclosed by The Hollywood Reporter. Now, while not naming the film directly, the president tweeted on Friday, they like, quote, they like to call themselves elite, but they are not elite. In fact, it is often the people that they are so strongly opposed, that are actually the elite. The movie coming out is made in order to inflame and cause chaos. They create their own violence in the movie and then try to blame others when it gets played out on the street. They are the true racists and are very bad for our country. I did add in a little bit of my own stuff in there. I invite you to go read the article. Hollywood, I don't call them the elites. I think the elites are the people they go after in many cases. But Hollywood is really terrible, Trump said. What they're doing with the kind of moving they're putting out is actually very dangerous for our country. What Hollywood is doing is a tremendous disservice to our country. In other words, Hollywood is un-American according to the president. And why? Because what they're doing is they are showing and glamorizing with Hollywood glitter. And they're actually giving a sort of subliminal message to their foot soldiers in the street. We need to hunt. Right? We need to kill. That's what we need to do with conservatives. Anyone who's not a socialist, anyone who is not a Democrat, right? Anyone who doesn't think the way they do is a racist, is a xenophobe, meaning they are afraid of everybody and everything, right? Anytime you don't agree with them, you are hate, you are racist, you are a fascist, you are bad. And they have whipped their people up so much so that we're now getting mass shootings, mass killings by leftists out here. They are buying guns and coming out in a twofold effort. One, to scare and punish people they oppose, and to try and frame people who believe in freedom and liberty, try and frame us and have the Second Amendment removed. That's what they're doing. That is the net result of this. There are not movies about Republicans who, for political purposes, hunt liberals. There are not movies like that portraying us that way. And if they did, they would portray us as hate-filled, as scum. But in this movie, The Hunt, I'm willing to bet that they present the elite hunters as funny, charismatic, cool, as having an opinion that, while it's a little sketchy, is believable, and it certainly has its place, because these rascally Republican conservative types are deplorable, and they're going to dehumanize them in the movie, and they're going to make them into racists, so it's okay to kill them, or they're anti-gay, so it's okay to kill them, or they are fascists, so it's okay to kill them, or they're child molesters, so it's okay to kill them. Right? You always paint the person getting killed in the movie as bad, so it makes it justifiable for the protagonist, the good guys, to do what they've done. Now, moving along from this, I step into the next manner of thinking. Why are they putting movies out like this? Are they worried about the blowback? Are they worried about conservatives saying, well, fuck it, if they're going to hunt us, we'll hunt them? Right? Yeah, they want chaos, as the president pointed out. Right? They want to inflame people, anger them. They want chaos in this country because the government ultimately wins. The government always wins when there's crisis and chaos because they get to pass more laws and assume more power and authority over the people. Yes, they do. They get to, they get to blame us. They get to fix the problem, right? Problem, reaction, solution, Hegelian dialect. But what do they cause? They're causing more conflict between us. They're going to cause a partisan war. It's not a war between the people or government factions against other government factions. It's a war between the members of society versus each other, based on partisan beliefs. On the left side, their partisan rhetoric is pro-socialist, pro-communist, anti-constitution, anti-freedom, pro-government. And on our side, it is pro-constitution. We believe in the Constitution, which is actually the law of the land. We're not the radicals. We're not demanding change. We like the idea of personal freedom and personal liberty and personal property belonging to us. They want to take it away. But by labeling us, the freedom lovers, as racists, as xenophobe, as anti-gay, as anti-people of color, as anti-government, they label us as those things to dehumanize us, to make an excuse to justify the violence. And so these people on the left, the leftists, are becoming more violent. Right? They're doxing people. They're exposing people to other radicals. They are assaulting them on the streets in cities like Portland. Right? You are labeled and called a racist if you are known for being a conservative and you go into public and someone who sees you that doesn't like you, they'll start screaming at you, embarrassing you, chasing you out of public places. Can you imagine this? If you were a black person and you went into a restaurant and someone said, "You're a racist," and chased you out because of your color. Well, because I'm white, I can be chased out of a restaurant because someone says that I'm a racist? Right? We wouldn't tolerate it. Not as freedom-loving people. We wouldn't tolerate anybody of any color, including the color of white, being chased out of a restaurant because of their political affiliation. Unless, I guess, that political affiliation is one of murder. But see, conservatives are not about murder. The lefts are about murder. The leftist, socialist, communist types. They are pro-murder at this point because they're allowing murder. They are supporting people making films like this that are going to cause more chaos and hatred and dissension, more conflict between left and right. They are murderous in their thinking because they support regimes that have existed in the past that are murderous. Right? Communist Russia, China. Right? They support the concepts that fascist Germany used because they themselves are the ones now employing this. The Nazis before World War II used propaganda in the form of movies. Movies! They had propaganda films that the Nazi Party put out that were pro-Nazi and anti-everyone else. Here we have the leftists, these social communist fascist types on the left that are using propaganda in the form of movies to enrage people to attack the enemies. This is where we're at. We're going to end up having partisan war. Shit hits the fan on the streets because of what they are doing and what the government is allowing. Christopher Wray is in charge of the FBI. He is a leftist. His affiliation is with the left. He is not a conservative. And this is happening now. The FBI should be arresting these radical leftists whose propaganda and speech and activities promote violence against others. I am not promoting violence against anyone. I am suggesting that people continue to speak their mind and exercise their rights so that we don't forfeit them through self-censorship. Except the left believes that that's an act of violence called a microaggression. By speaking, you are committing a microaggression against them. They are speaking, and if I use their logic, they're committing a microaggression against me. But my reaction isn't violent because I understand they have a freedom of speech. I don't promote anything more than self-preservation and self-defense. But they are pushing on the left to create this conflict. And when the economy slows down more and there's more unemployment and more difficulty and more hard times, they are going to continue to push and blame us, the racist hate mongers that they claim we are, which we are not. They're going to want to punish somebody, blame somebody for the hard times they're having. Now my question is, who do you think the left is going to blame when shit hits the fan? They've seen enough movies and heard enough talk about us being deplorables and supporters of racism and supporters of Trump's hatred, and they're going to come after us. That's why you need to be prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and a means of self-defense. We are getting closer to this, what a lot of people call a civil war, but what I call a partisan war, because it's going to be fought on the streets between people with political differences. But it's going to be instigated. It's going to be started by the left. And where will the police and the government be when this happens? I don't know. What will the police and government response be when this happens? I don't know. How are you going to defend yourself when you end up in a firefight with these lunatics? First, you're going to have to win a firefight, a gunfight with these lunatics if they continue to push for violence. And then you're going to have to deal with the police who show up and ask you what's going on. And they're going to take your guns and say you've been involved in a violent interaction. You no longer have the right to defend yourself. When in fact they should say you keep your weapons, because we're seeing a lot of this type of gun violence out here, of the lefties against people of white color. They're going to go after the Uncle Toms, I'm sure. And the Uncle Hispanic Toms. I don't know what name they have for them. They've got names and labels and dehumanizing things to say about us. But this is coming, folks. It is coming big time. It is coming big time. You can see the acceleration. It's gone from fuck Trump to fuck you and fuck your belief system. And in this movie, right, they're going after, they have 12 elite conservatives that they're going to hunt. Well, the people on the street out here, they're not going to be able to find any elite Republicans. Who will they hunt? Right? Who will they hunt? They're going to find us, me and you, and they're going to hunt us. You have to have this as part of your plan. As we get closer to shit hitting the fan, this is developing. Now, if we had shit at the fan 2 years ago, this wouldn't happen as much for partisan reasons. Yes, it would happen. Yes, they would blame. But now they are directly being indoctrinated or educated or brainwashed into hating us over here on the freedom and Constitution side. They're being given explicit instructions, it would seem, as evidenced by what they're doing. Expose everyone they don't like, have their names and addresses and phone numbers, know where they work, ruin their lives, and ultimately you get to hunt them when things go bad. That is what they're teaching. That is what they're demonstrating they believe in on the left. Why can't governments see this and put an end to it? By governments, I mean local, county, state, and federal. Trump said, yeah, Antifa is a terrorist organization. Who's responsible for law enforcement within the borders of the United States? On the federal level, it is the FBI. The Federal Bureau of Investigation should be investigating these left-wing violent groups. And if there's any right-wing violent groups, yeah, if they're going to commit a crime and you've caught them in the act, right, they've got a plan laid out, they're loading their magazines, they're getting ready to go, they've got dates and places and times, arrest them. I don't care whether they're left or right. If they're going to commit massive murder, mass murder, crimes, go arrest them. But don't mess with us, the rest of the people who love freedom and respect other people's rights. Right, as a prepper, I'm not suggesting anybody go hunt anybody. I just need to be able to know that I am prepared and in position to defend myself. Right? Defend myself. I expect and hope that you will defend yourself as well. Because there are radicals out there. And they are being shown how violence will satisfy that desire they have to get even or get revenge or punish or teach a lesson to. Right? They're doing it more and more, exposing us, but they're also exposing and revealing themselves. Because of that, we can see where this is going in time. As we go through time, we're seeing how this is going to shape out. Whether we have a fuel crisis, a food crisis, a government crisis, an entitlement program, welfare crisis, an electricity crisis, a water crisis, no matter what the crisis is, you can see that it's the left that's going to blame you and me and others like us who believe in freedom. Because we didn't give the government all of our rights so that government could fix everything. Well, government has all the money they need. They deficit spend. They're never short on money. And they haven't fixed these problems now. So what makes anyone think they could fix them if I abandoned my rights as well? In fact, by having my rights, I retain the ability to survive the government's screw-ups. So be a prepper. Right? Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. I'll talk to you again real soon. Right? Real soon. And thank you again for supporting everybody at the Prepared Mind Network through your contributions, your clicks, and of course, share this information, share the videos wherever you can with others. Tell them they need to support this alternative type of thinking which is in our right minds because we can see what they're doing. But the mainstream press won't tell us this, right? They'll just say Trump is a racist and he stopped this great movie from coming out, right? That's what they're going to say. The mainstream news, commentary, opinion will not tell you what I just told you, right? So that's why I'm here, and that's why this channel is a success, and we need your support. So keep it up and keep spreading the word, right? Semper Fi, and I'll talk to you soon.